Well, hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Jake here with you. Another edition of Demko Modelworks. This will be part 2 of our client William Jackson's 1400 Yamaguchi, but we're calling this, he's renamed it the Kestra, USS Kestra. So this will be part 2 of the build, and I've had to go back through and redo some things due to some inconsistencies in the plastic, and then I had to go back through and repaint everything and do some stuff. So what I'm going to do is I thought I'd take you through and walk you through some of the things that I'm doing. So we've got a lot going on tonight, so get ready for some some tutorials on how I do things and how you can do certain things on the paint and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. So and also going to talk about the Enterprise D a little bit. We'll show you a little bit more progress on it. So we'll swing you over to the bench here in just a second, guys, and stay tuned. So we'll be right back. Alright guys, welcome back. Now we're here on the bench. Just kind of show you what I've been doing. I've had to go back through and redo some of redo the paint, simply for the fact that right through here I had some light leaks. That just wasn't, the paint wasn't getting down in the cracks, so I had to go back through and re-prime the whole thing. I did have the top, the color pretty much done on this, on the top, but I had to go back through and re-prime it and re-put a couple of new coats of paint on here. So, and there was a little inconsistency in the plastic, and I don't remember exactly where it is because I got it covered over now. So, I mean, it was right here. There was a little bit of inconsistency in the plastic, but it's not showing through now when I do the paint now. So we'll get that, we got that pretty much taken care of. But if it's still showing through a little bit, I can add just a little bit of black paint on the back side to get it to where it's not showing, the light's not showing through. But a little bit later on, we're going to go back through and start scraping out a little bit of the windows. I'm not going to do the whole thing with you on video because that'd be just kind of redundant and everything, but what we're going to do is go through and get the two colors put on. Right now I'm going to show you how to tape this stuff off. Now if you have it, if you can get a hold of it, the stuff is really good. Excuse me. But you get this stuff at your local automotive paint store, and what this is this is that vinyl tape, and this stuff works really good. They have two different, I like using the two different sizes. This is I believe this is a 1/2 inch, and this is I think an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch. I think it's a 3/16. So this stuff works really well. I've been using it now for a couple of years, and this stuff works really well around the corners and stuff, and it really takes care of the edges and not getting paint up underneath the tape. So because sometimes, if you might notice, some of the tapes that you might use, you'll get a little bit of the paint bleed up underneath. So this stuff works out real well. This stuff right here is around $12 a roll. A little expensive, but it's worth it, guys. So I would suggest investing in some of that. But if you don't have it, the way we used to do it before, we found that stuff out, is just taking tape and putting it down on top of this. Now, one thing I will tell you, the good thing about the Enterprise C is it has grid lines and stuff like that in there, to where you can run your tape across, and what I do is I take a piece of tape, and I'll show you here in just a second. Take a piece of tape, and I take a toothpick, and then I take my toothpick and run it across the grid line, give it an indentation. That way I can go back through and take my hobby knife and just kind of very lightly cut the tape off to where it'll make match of where I've got to go. One thing you want to make sure is you have a very sharp number 11 hobby knife in here to make sure it cuts the tape very well. Because if you don't, you're going to end up having to push down really hard to cut the tape, and then you might be able, you might end up scoring your plastic or your paint, and you don't want to do that. So, but anyway, all right, let me show you what I'm doing here. And like I said, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but what I've gone through now, and I've done the. Let me zoom in to where you can see what I'm doing. Let me move you to where you're in better shot. Excuse me. Alright. What I've done is, this is the front end of the stupid mosquito. Well, this is the front of the ship here. So what I've done is I've gone through and matched the front of this here, and I'm cutting, going through and doing all where the phaser banks on this ship are at first. So that way, you know, you don't have to put the whole coat of paint over there and then waste paint and have all this underneath. That way I can just protect this and just put that darker coat on, which the darker coat, in one of the last videos you might have seen, it will be the I used the model the model by Vallejo, the Model Air. This stuff is paintbrush ready. Just add a little bit of paint flow improver in there and you're ready to go. This is the Russian gray, AF gray. So number 7, you might want to put this down, and I'll put this up on the screen. The darker blue is the 71.343 Russian gray, and this is, like I said, this goes for the darker blue ring and around the bottom of the BC deck. And then we have our overall light color, which is the lighter gray, what you see here. This is the same brand, the Flanker Blue, and that's the, and I'll put this up on the screen. It's 71.337 is the number you might want to use. So, but getting back to what we're using, what I'm doing is, like I said, I'm going through and around doing the phaser bank, and then I'm going to show you do one, and then I'll go back through off camera and put paint on, and then come back and show you. So we'll get a piece of tape, and we'll do what we'll do now is we'll do this the port side, and I'll just get a good piece of tape here and get you in shot, and I'll just line this up what I'm doing. See if I can't zoom you in a little bit more without losing you on focus. But what I'm doing is, you might see, where's my toothpick here? Right here is where the inside ring, there's 2 lines. There's 2 lines. There's a good shot. There's 2 lines that are real close together, top and bottom there. And you want the bottom one is where the bottom of the top of your tape needs to run. So let me back you out and show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to lay my tape across the bottom edge of this just long enough to make sure I get it covered, and I'll smooth it out real well. Get that around the phaser bank. Okay, now like I said, I'm going to take my toothpick, and around the bottom side of that, I'm going to push down pretty good to get that indentation there, and then I'll just take my hobby knife and lightly score across that indentation, and that should be scored enough to where I can just go back through and peel it right off, and now you have your coverage right there. So now what this is doing is, this is going on either side, just either side of the phaser banks here, and we're going to go down just below the bottom of the lifeboats. So that's what I'm doing now, is I'm going to go just right below it on either side. I don't know if I can get it down in the trench. Now see here, I'm going to have to go back through and put a smaller, just a little bit more tape right here. It didn't quite cover it all. That's what I'll do. Lay that like that, and then go across it, and then back up. Like I said, what we're doing is we're covering the area where the dark blue is going to go. So now we got that covered. And then now we're going to go right below, one line below the phaser bank turret. So we'll mark our line there, and then come back across and match up to the bottom of the lifeboat. Like I said, you don't want to push too hard because you might end up scoring your paint. Or even cutting into the plastic and causing a light bleed. And go down and do the same thing. Stupid mosquito, get out of here. It is that season, folks. Alright, so we should have this done. Should be able to peel that off. And again, I didn't put the tape up far enough, but what we'll do is we'll just take a little piece of this, run it right there around the corner. Alright, there you are. Now I'm going to have to do a little bit right here. Got cut up a little bit, so but that's basically how you do that. So what I'm going to do now is go off camera and finish this up, and then get this painted. You know, get the lighter blue painted, and we'll come back and show you how it looks. So we'll be right back. Long time for me, short time for you guys. Stay tuned. Alright guys, welcome back. What we're doing now is I've gotten the light blue put on. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this sit for a couple of hours, you know, about an hour or so, and let this cure and dry real good, and then we'll come back and get ready for our dark blue, guys. So stay tuned, guys. Again, long time for me, short time for you. See you in just a bit. Alright guys, welcome back. I went on ahead and I let that dry for a little while, and I came back through here and taped off the outer ring and the inside ring, and I got my darker blue sprayed on. I had a little problem when I started putting the tape on right here in this inner ring. The paint started coming off, so it wasn't fully completely cured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then probably put another coat on it tomorrow, and go from there, and then, you know, redo our touch up and whatnot, and go from there. And hopefully by you know, this weekend, Friday or so, I'll have the top saucer completely done. I'll have all the phaser banks painted and all the detail work done, and I should have all the windows scratched back out, and go, you know, have it to where it'll look nice, and we'll put a light up through there and show you what it looks like. So show you what we've been doing on the bottom saucer a little bit. I went back through and replate, you know, I had to go back through it and repaint these bottom these outside rings, because it had a little bit of a paint bleed in them. So now, but I got them all cleaned up, and still got to go through there and put this darker blue in this inside ring here and here, and then drill a hole for the light, and all the windows are scraped out, so it's ready to go. So what we'll do is we'll start laying in. I went and got some SMDs for the navigational lights, and we'll start laying in our LED light strip. Probably what I'll do is I'll lay you know, a couple of short strips out here to where it's coming in. I may end up even just using some 10mm LEDs, just, you know, a couple of them around here to where it lights this up, because there's really not a whole lot of room with the with the window scraped out, and I'll show you. Let me zoom in, see if you can get with it zoomed in enough. But you can see the windows there are scraped out. So and this is a flat section here, so you're not going to really have a whole lot of room to lay in a lot of LED. Now the LED light strips you might lay in one here, here, and here for the top saucer, but to light up this bottom saucer, going to have to flip it over and probably, and you know, and put in a couple of LED 10mm LEDs in there. So, but we're going to close out this video, guys, and oh yeah, I was going to show you. I mentioned that about the Enterprise D. Hang on, let me grab that real quick. Sorry about the camera, guys. I didn't mean to shake it, but I had to go back through, and what I did is I used some cheap paint, and I probably shouldn't do that, but I used some the apple barrel. I will tell you, the apple barrel from Walmart. I was sitting there thinking I was going to, you know, use some cheap paint on here because I'm just going to have decals on here. So I used the apple barrel paint, and it was sticking good. And I realized I need to go back through and do some you know, touch up, you know, with a. So I used a paintbrush, and I used to touch up. Well, when I put the clear coat on there, you saw every little brush point on there under the clear coat, and it didn't look right. So I had to go through, sand it down, and put a coat of primer on there, you know, light coat of primer, so we don't completely fog up our windows, and then go back through and use some gray paint to cover over, you know, get it repainted and everything. So now it looks real good. Go back through now and I've gone through and started scraping out the windows on this side, and I'm going to go through and, you know, work my way around, and this weekend try to get all the windows done and put a clear coat on top of it, and, you know, and go from there. So I don't know if I'm going to do Aztec decals, or if I'm going to do some paint masking on this. So, but just getting close, guys, on this, and it's, you know, it's coming together. I got all the base coat now put back on and everything else, so I can go through and take off all the tape and get ready for that. So, but anyway, guys, that's it for this video. We'll have another update. You know, I'll probably do another update video on Sunday, or I can upload it again on Monday, and go from there. And hopefully on the Kestra, I'll have some more progress done on that, and show you. I'll go through on the top saucer and go through and you know, walk you through and show you how I do a little bit of the lighting. So, but until then, guys, take care. Have a good weekend. Have a good rest of your week. Take care. Have fun out there building those models, guys. And see you later. Happy modeling, everybody.